chilling that night, just a few degrees above freezing, and I was lying motionless in a hospital bed, my right leg in a heavy cast after a complicated surgery. The reason? I broke my leg trying to stop two burglars from breaking into the house Charlotte and I had built together over the last 6 years. I'm no superhero, but in that moment, I did what any man would do: protect the home and the woman he loves. A scuffle, a slip on the steps, and everything snapped. They ran. I stayed, twisted, bleeding through my pajama pants on the front porch. Charlotte was there when I woke up after surgery. She fussed over the doctors, helped me sit up, spoon-fed me soup and pain meds. All the little things you'd expect from someone who cares. And for a moment, I thought I'd seen true love in crisis. But then, just 1 week later, as I hobbled on crutches toward the bathroom, I heard a voice that shattered everything. Charlotte, from the living room, where she was sitting with her 3 closest friends. He couldn't even protect his own house. Now I'm playing nurse to a cripple. Marrying him was the biggest mistake of my life. Laughter. Another voice chimed in. Girl, you deserve better. If we're lucky, maybe he stays paralyzed and saves you the trouble. I stood frozen behind the cracked door, heart colder than the snow outside, leg trembling, not from the injury, but from that first blow to the heart. That moment changed everything. I didn't scream. I didn't confront her. I limped back to bed and stayed the useless husband in her eyes. But inside, I started to plan. Not with rage, not with noise, but with silence, with precision, and with the calm smile of a man who's about to burn down the entire theater, with the actress still inside. You know, physical pain? You can numb that with medication. But the kind of pain that comes from betrayal, the kind that hits when the one person you trusted the most, the one who once held your hand before God, turns cold and cruel, there's no pill for that. After the night I overheard that gut-wrenching sentence from Charlotte, stopped seeing her as my wife, and started watching her like a soldier watches a traitor, waiting for the moment she slips up. And the signs? They started showing. She wasn't careful anymore. The annoyed sighs every time I asked for a glass of water, the way she avoided eye contact when I brought up money, the texts she'd delete the second she read them. Her phone always flipped face down on the table. Each little gesture, every cold glance, wasn't a dagger, not quite, but more like 1,000 paper cuts to my faith in her, bleeding me out, slow and steady. Then one day she left for what she called a hair appointment that somehow lasted well past sunset. I decided to check the laptop she left on her desk. Luck? Fate? I don't know, but the browser was still open, email still logged in. That's where I found it. An invoice from a real estate agency addressed to Charlotte. Subject line, downtown unit you asked for. Perfect for a single lifestyle. Just that sentence alone sent a chill down my spine. There was more. A spreadsheet showing small monthly transfers, a few $100s at a time, from our joint account to a name I didn't recognize, for over a year. And then, an unsent email draft. Subject line, next steps, after he recovers. Inside, a full breakdown, a timeline for divorce once I was physically recovered, legal justifications, and a bullet point list of assets to negotiate. Charlotte wasn't just unhappy. She was planning her exit, waiting out my injury like a storm, until she could walk out clean. And in that moment, it hit me. I was no longer her husband. I was an obstacle, a patient to endure until I became disposable. But I was done being the victim. I didn't explode, didn't scream. I just started copying everything. Invoices, emails, bank transfers. I bought an external drive and hid it somewhere she'd never look. Right beneath that expensive sofa she chose because it looked better than her sister's. And then I started laying the groundwork. I called a lawyer, opened a new private account, started transferring small amounts, texted my closest friend Ryan, just in case I needed to vanish without a word. Charlotte wanted out? Fine, but she'd never see it coming, that she's the one who's about to be left behind. They say, if you want to destroy someone, let them believe they're winning. And that's exactly what I did. I stayed in my usual spot on the couch, cast on my leg, eyes half-lidded from painkillers, or so Charlotte thought. She had no clue that every time she smirked behind my back, every whispered phone call from the balcony after work, I was documenting, recording, photographing, backing everything up. I became a ghost in my own marriage, but a ghost that recorded every sin committed in the shadows. I quietly opened a separate bank account, moved bits of our joint savings, not a lot, just enough to survive when I walked away. I installed a small camera in the living room, totally legal since the house is still in my name. And through it, I heard it all. The late-night calls, the sweet nothings Charlotte whispered to him, the way she laughed about that poor limping fool I have to babysit. I met with a lawyer, the same man who once helped my father during a company split. Sharp, cold, surgical. He told me we don't retaliate, we just move first. And then Charlotte made her biggest mistake. She left her laptop open, no lock screen. I didn't snoop, I didn't search, but right there a folder caught my eye. Inside, photos. Her and another man, a beach, a cocktail, a kiss on the patio of a restaurant. Timestamp? 2 weeks ago. While I was lying in a hospital bed, recovering from a second surgery. I didn't feel angry, not hurt. I felt free. Free from the illusion. Free from the weight of loyalty to someone who never earned it. And so I started my exit. I called Ryan, my best friend since college. He only asked one question. When do you want to move out? I sent the entire file to my lawyer. Photos, audio, bank statements, emails, a full dossier. I wrote a letter, placed it next to the divorce papers, tucked the wedding ring inside. I began moving out, bit by bit. Each time Charlotte left for work, took a few of my things. No empty spaces, no signs, just gone. Then came the day of Charlotte's big presentation. She was nervous, rushing to get ready. I played my part perfectly. You've got this. You're amazing. She smiled, kissed me on the cheek, clueless that it was the last time she'd ever do that. The moment the door shut behind her, I picked up the phone and called Ryan. It's time. That afternoon, the sky seemed to know exactly how I felt. Dark clouds gathered above as a light rain began to fall. The kind that doesn't soak you, but whispers that something is ending. Ryan and I pulled away from the house that once meant home. On the wooden table in the living room, I left a thick file folder with a single handwritten letter tucked beneath it. Brief, sharp, and necessary. Charlotte, I know everything. William, the things you said to your friends, the secret accounts, the drafted divorce you were planning, but you forgot one thing. The one who moves first wins. I'm no longer the ghost in this marriage. I placed my wedding ring on top, right where the light from the window made it shimmer one last time before I walked away. 4:12 p.m. First text message. I can't find your file. Where did you put it? 4:25 p.m. Missed call. Then another. And another. 7 total. 4:37 p.m. New message. I came home and you're not here. This isn't funny, Dennis. I'm sorry for being distant lately, but you're scaring me. 4:42 p.m. Another text. What is this? What is this file? Who gave you the right to access my email and accounts? 4:43 p.m. Ping. God. You know everything? You heard that conversation with the girls? 5:02 p.m. 12th missed call. I didn't answer, not out of rage, but because my role was done. I wasn't the pitiful husband in the hospital bed anymore, forcing a smile through bleeding trust. I was the one ending the game, not with a grand slam, but with 1,000 precision cuts, like a surgeon severing something rotten. When Charlotte returned and found the kitchen empty of my things, the bed stripped of my side, and the email from my attorney with a signed divorce petition, she didn't scream. She didn't smash anything. She sat in silence. Then she called. Then came the voicemails. Tears now taking the place of arrogance. Dennis, you're killing me like this. I'm sorry. I really am. I was tired and my friends, they kept pushing me. I miss you. Please. Where are you? And then came the shift, the spin. Charlotte, once the betrayer, now trying to recast herself as the abandoned, the wronged, the victim in a story she wrote, but never saw ending this way. Her friends, the same ones who drank wine with her and joked about ditching the broken guy, started texting me. We didn't realize it was that bad. She shouldn't have said those things. I'm really sorry. One of them, Amanda, even wrote, honestly, you were always good to her. I remember seeing you in the hospital, how you smiled even when she rolled her eyes. I'm really sorry. That night the rain came harder, but it wasn't sorrowful. It was cleansing. It washed away the wounds, the delusion, the years I spent trying to be enough for someone who always believed she deserved more. They say betrayal is like tearing fine silk. No matter how carefully you stitch it back together, the rip will always be there. Visible, felt, unforgettable. Charlotte couldn't stitch it back anymore. Day 3 after I left, a call from an unknown number. I answered. Her voice was shaking. Dennis, it's me. You read everything, didn't you? I didn't know. I didn't realize you heard it all. I said nothing. I never meant to hurt you. I was just so tired. I didn't know it was that serious. My voice was calm, no anger, no emotion. I heard every word, Charlotte. Every single thing you said to your friends. Every dollar you quietly moved. Every plan you made. Forgetting the man who broke his leg trying to protect that house. For you. She cried, but this time, tears couldn't cleanse a thing. Day 5. Charlotte's Instagram changed. No more brunch selfies. Just cryptic, sorrowful quotes. Sometimes you don't realize what you've lost until it's gone. Healing is a journey, not a destination. Her followers dropped. The comments, quiet. Even her friends, those who once pushed her to leave the broken guy, had nothing to say once the truth came out. And me? I was learning to walk again. Not just with my healing leg, but away from an old life. One careful, steady step into a future without lies. A week later, Charlotte showed up at Ryan's house where I'd been staying. Flowers in her hand, no makeup, no designer perfume, just puffy eyes and a voice so small, it barely reached me. "I'm sorry, Dennis. I was wrong. All of it. I shouldn't have. I don't deserve." I cut her off. "You're right. You don't." She froze. I continued. "But the problem isn't just that you were wrong, it's that you tried to hide it. You made a plan to walk out on a man who couldn't even walk yet, just because he didn't seem strong enough for you anymore." She set the flowers down, said nothing. "You only need to forgive yourself now. As for me, I've already forgiven the man I used to be." And I shut the door. 2 months later, our final meeting, at the attorney's office. Charlotte looked at me as she signed the divorce papers. "If you gave me one more chance, I'd do it all differently. If you really meant that, you wouldn't have let it go this far. I still love you, but I don't trust you. So, this is it?" "No, Charlotte. It ended the moment you stood in our living room and said you wished I'd die so you wouldn't have to take care of me. Now, I live in a small apartment, but it's warm, it's peaceful. I brew my own coffee, I cook, I hike again, and at night I write my story. Not to complain, but to remember. I was left behind, but I never let that keep me down. If you've ever been hurt by the person you trusted most, if someone ever whispered behind your back that you're a burden, if you ever thought you couldn't get up from a fall, remember this: you're not alone, and you deserve a future without betrayal standing beside you." Thank you for listening. If this story resonated with you, share it, and subscribe for more true, raw stories that speak to the soul. I'll see you in the next chapter. And for now, I'm just going to enjoy this quiet evening, in a home where I no longer have to prove I'm worth loving.